Our second reader received his MFA in creative writing from The Ohio State University in 2000. His writing has appeared in Crab Orchard Review, Hayden's Fairy Review, and Cassette From My Ex, an anthology of personal essays on relationships from the era of the mixtape. I'm actually in that book as well. It's worth picking up. His online... I don't know why I just patted myself on the back.
Thanks, Andrew.
His essay is much better than mine. His online projects have been featured on Boing Boing, Metafilter, and Product Hunt, among other places. You can find him on Twitter at Avoision, or at his website, avoision.com, a personal blog he has updated every single day since July 2002. Please welcome Felix Jung. Good night?
Yeah, thanks. Interestingly enough, this is a very good segue, because the first poem I have is also a little bit about space, but a little bit more grounded. Well, you'll see in a second. So the poem is called Telescope, and it has an epigraph that starts off, amateur astronomers fear an approved prison project would spoil their view because the prison's lights would stay on all night. New York Times, June 30th, 1999. The farther things are, the more beautiful they seem. We name a god and set him high above us. Saturn's rings are lovely only because we cannot wear them. Even convicts know this truth. At night, the felons peer between their bars to see the Big Dipper, that cauldron which can hold a universe and never spill. Trace its lines, they say, and you will find the North Star. Follow it, and you are home. Mathematics during a fire. Get the baby first. The cat will fend for itself. Running past the fish tank, you bow your head, close your eyes. When I first moved to Chicago, one of the first summers that I had, the apartment, there was some air conditioning, but for the most part it was very uncomfortable, and there was this little bit of a heat wave, and I was thinking, how could I possibly be more miserable? And I thought, well, maybe I'll think about an ex-girlfriend. So this poem kind of comes from that night, and it's called Sweat. Tonight is not extreme, not the kind of evening some would call blistering. It's a slow melting, a film of warm jelly enveloping the city. Around the house, random things stick to my arms. The paper holds tightly as if grafted to my wrist. Lint finds its way mysteriously to my neck. To make things worse, everything works in reverse. Masking tape turns limp and unattractive. The walls tired of the same old posters, day after day after day. When you were here, our bodies would attach to one another easily enough, the joy being each new method of joining we discovered. Somewhere else, you are sweating with someone else, clinging in ways I once believed mine. Each pore produces a tiny, perfect droplet, which in turn binds itself to skin. What forces rule all bodies? What holds? What stays? What lubricates? What slips away? During my first couple of years in Chicago, I didn't date much at all. I mean, it was for a long time. We call this the dry spell. And I was hanging out with my friend, my good friend Ben, and he and his wife, wanted to go out to dinner, but they didn't have a sitter. They had a new child. And I thought, it's Valentine's Day. I'm not doing anything. I'll do it. And that night, I think I killed time by, the kid was already in bed, and I killed time by watching the first 2 episodes of Oz, an HBO series about men in this terrible prison. So you've got Valentine's Day, on this side, which is chocolate and champagne and flowers, and then me watching a prison show, babysitting for somebody else, as far away as you can be from Valentine's Day. But there was a couple of moments in that night where it was just really quiet at his house, and it was very calm, and this poem comes from that. It's called Babysitting Valentine's Day. The child, exhausted by his sobbing, falls slowly into dreams. The mother, a low, quiet perfume, and the father, a thick midnight sweater, have long departed. The cats, equidistant from the couch, are curled around themselves. I can barely hear the clock ticking over the dull hum of the fridge. Somewhere deep inside the walls, a furnace grumbles from its slumber and breathes heat. The cats roll, stretch their paws, and sigh. All around me, the world is sleeping while lovers are strolling, arms entwined. I am alone, sitting in a room of perfect stillness, left to be the one who, in the midst of all this silence, has been called to stand sentry and bear witness. First snow. When the snowflakes hit, it's hard to tell if I'm the one they cling to or if it's one another. Flagrant lovers, they'll bind at any opportunity. There's a solid inch laid down, a frosted white that makes all surface icing, all concrete cake. Ahead, I see a wide expanse of nothingness, half clouded by the drifts. My feet set forth deliberately, an astronaut upon the moon. Behind me, in my wake, I leave small absences that slowly fill. Goddess of both brevity and memory, the snow records all steps. The snow forgets. Where am I from? Where am I walking to? Was I looking for or leaving you? I have a very odd fear of heights, and this is a very strange conflict with the notion of religion, in that I want to believe in a higher power. I'm not quite sure. That kind of goes against faith. And, after we die, heaven seems like the preferred place to go, by all accounts. But for someone who's afraid of heights, the idea of spending all of eternity high up on a cloud is kind of terrifying, so I don't know how to reconcile those things. The other phobia that I have is a kind of a weird one with strong winds, in that I have the sense that a wind will actually pick me up off the. I don't know what that is. I love my pasta and pizza, so that ain't happening. But I still feel like it's. Maybe it says something about me about not liking spontaneity or whatnot. But this poem is a little bit about that fear. It's called Anemophobia, and it also has an epigraph. It begins: the winds, which gusted to 94 miles an hour in Fremont Canyon above Irvine Lake, knocked out power to thousands of people in northeastern Orange County. Orange County Register, January 6, 2003. When the winds gust, my stomach falls as if to clutch the ground. I look around for trees to grab, a signpost I can cling to. Mary Poppins used the gales to her advantage, but what of all those women? When the dust kicks high, they're the ones I see, flailing arms, loose black dresses, flapping like sails. Should the rapture come to take us, half the world will rise and meet it. The other half afraid like me, will swim back down to land, saying, no, not yet, not me. I'm a sinner, a sinner. I've got just two more. This one, actually, I've never read out loud before. I've been carrying around for a couple of years now, and just, I guess, taking it out for a walk tonight. And I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and as a Chinese kid who really got into heavy metal, that was a very interesting thing. That was kind of my tribe. That was what I was really into, and I was fascinated by. I tell you, Axl Rose kind of scared the crap out of me when I first saw him, but then I kind of got used to it. But the idea of these kind of, all this hair and the metal and the sort of the rock lifestyle, the sort of excess and the sort of crazy partying, I was kind of imagining that, and now I'm very far removed from that time, and as I imagine they are as well. And this poem talks about that a little bit. The poem is called Obituaries for Heavy Metal Drummers. The papers always print the old archival photographs back when they were younger, mouths wide, skin taut across their cheeks. When I see their black and white faces, I think, please, let it be an overdose, a bubble in the heroin, a line of badly cut cocaine. Perhaps a truck colliding with a tour bus, a jealous lover's gun, incineration due to pyrotechnic miscalculations. May their ends be full with motion, a single-engine Cessna on a snowy night, racing motorcycles in the rain, crushed to bits beneath an avalanche of Marshall stacks. Let it be a violent death, brutish, quick, a public mess that echoes. Anything is better than the lazy crawl of age and time, of sunny days that brush their light across a faded wall, when on a random Wednesday afternoon, their lonely ticking hearts resist a beat and skip and simply stop. The last poem I have comes from spending a lot of time at laundromats. When you run out of magazines and newspapers, you're kind of just staring and just sort of washing your clothes, and this poem comes from that. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for the invitation to read. The last poem I have is called Dryer. Small wonder I dream of love when I see the sweaters and the shirts tumbling into one another's arms. The buzzer sings. I crack the door and feel a warmth that reaches out to me. I think how, over time, all bodies cool and lose the heat once given them. I tug their arms. I grab them all and hold them to my chest. Thank you.